Hello, friends. It's Carla, your online doctor, with today's Live in 5. Today is Thursday, August 6th at 5 p.m. I still have to get used to the glare on these glasses. Woo, are they purple? Anyway, yesterday, my live must have hit a chord, hit a nerve. I don't know what it did, but I got a lot of controversy going back and forth. And some of it was very productive. Some of it was good conversation. And I actually had to block one person because she just got outright personal and nasty. Please, this is my Facebook page. You can watch me if you want. You can pass by if you don't want to watch. I usually don't do controversial topics, but again, it's for discussion. Please, I have no problem with a healthy conversation, healthy debate. I don't need argument. I don't need people telling me I'm stupid and that I shouldn't be a doctor and all those other good things. So that said, I want to keep it clean. I want to keep it nice. Okay? There's too much yuck in the world right now for it to be extended here. Okay? So if you want to engage that way, please just pass me by. Okay? So when my daughter starts college in 2 weeks, yeek, they're doing COVID testing on everyone at the school. In the parents group, one parent commented that you could test positive for coronavirus if you have had the common cold in the past. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is just not true at all. Okay, so let's discuss what is true. Okay, right now there are 3 types of COVID-19 tests. Number 1 is the molecular test, also known as the PCR, or the polymerase chain reaction, which detects genetic material of the virus from a nasal or throat swab. Okay, the antigen test is the second one, and this is the rapid test detecting viral proteins. And number 3 is the antibody or the serology or serologic test, which is detecting antibodies against coronavirus or COVID-19 to be specific. Now, the first 2 are used to test for active infections, whereas the antibody test tells you if you've developed an antibody response to a coronavirus infection. Now, there are 7 different coronaviruses that can cause respiratory illnesses in humans. Antibodies created by these different viruses appear very similar, and up until early to mid-July, labs were using tests that had cross-reactivity. So you would possibly have a false positive antibody test for COVID-19 when you never had it or were never exposed to it at all. Now, it is unclear, however, if this has been completely resolved. Okay, so meaning you've had a coronavirus in the past, not COVID-19, and because of the similarity in the proteins on the virus, you could test positive because the antibody test wasn't accurate enough, wasn't sensitive or specific enough for COVID-19. Now, some good news exists. Previous infections with other coronaviruses may make you more resistant to COVID-19, and that immunity may last as long as 17 years, is what they're saying right now. Okay, scientists have found if you have had an infection with beta coronavirus, OC43 or HKU, I think that is an I, but I can't read my own handwriting, you may have a 50-50 chance of having T cells to help you fight COVID-19. And these memory T cells provide effective immunity. We talked about that last week. Now, the question comes down to long-term immunity and are we protected if antibodies actually disappear over time? So they're saying that these antibodies may actually disappear after a few months and possibly they may linger and then disappear after possibly a year. Again, we are not at a year yet, so how they come up with that number, I don't know. But I have friends who have very, very strong antibody tests still after months of after having been infected with COVID-19. Again, these rules don't apply to everybody. This is a novel virus that we are still navigating. We are still trying to figure out our way through this whole thing. So nothing is written in stone. Nothing is going to be perfect today compared to how it was yesterday, compared to how it will be tomorrow. It is an ever-changing field of medicine, of knowledge that scientists are navigating along with us. Okay, so back to testing. Should we all just get tested? Really, the answer is no. Unless you have had exposure to someone you know is positive or you're having symptoms, you probably don't need to get tested just for the sake of being tested. That said, many employers are requiring frequent testing. Adult living facilities do testing on a regular basis, and now colleges and universities, and possibly K through 12 at some point, are requiring it as part of the back-to-school requirements. Now, my daughter's school is saying that they're testing the day they arrive to move on campus, but that test will take 4 to 6 days to get results, and they are asking the students to do a soft quarantine. I'm just going to leave it at that because it kind of sounds pretty silly. Now, I don't want them doing the rapid test because that one has more of a false positive rate than the molecular test. But, again, and they're also only testing students who are living on campus, not the ones who are living off campus. We don't know what they're testing as far as their faculty, their staff, their housekeeping, their landscapers. We just don't know. I'd like to believe that they are doing the best they can and they are doing all of the things to keep the students safe. So I'm going to believe that because I honestly feel that most schools will do that. Okay? How that will actually play out over time, only time will let us know. So one source I read suggested antibody testing is a better screening tool, but many labs will not test you unless you have been positive for COVID-19 in the past and are now negative or at least 2 to 3 weeks post-infection, and you are checking to see if you have antibodies to the infection you had, not to see if you were an asymptomatic person. There are research studies that are being done for that, but getting involved in that and getting into that is much more difficult than just going to a lab and getting yourself tested because you want to. Now, this is clearly a case of do what makes sense versus do what is allowed. But again, this is a personal decision. If you choose to get tested, more power to you. I'm not telling you what to do. I am just giving you information. If your student is going back to school and they have had a coronavirus in the past, not COVID-19, they will not test positive for COVID-19. The antigen test, the molecular test, is designed to test specific for this coronavirus. So on that note, I hope you guys are having an awesome day, and I will see you again tomorrow for another Live in 5.